What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and I love to talk about all things Peloton cycling and fitness. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post every single Sunday, and today's video I think will be a fun one. I'm going to be reviewing the yoga conditioning collection on Peloton. And this is new to me. I've never done yoga conditioning on Peloton or really out in the real world. The closest I've gotten to it is probably bar with weights, and bar with weights is quite difficult. So I think this will also be a challenge. The description of this collection is yoga conditioning classes add light weights and repetition to familiar yoga shapes to build a stronger, more confident yoga practice. Set to upbeat playlists, you'll create stability in these fun classes. So I really don't know what to expect. Is it going to be more upbeat? I think so, but I think it's also going to be very hard because I think yoga is kind of hard without weights. There's 3 instructors in this collection: Kira Michelle, Kristen McGee, and Mariana Fernandez. And Mariana is probably my favorite yoga instructor on Peloton, so that also, made me more likely to try. And this has been something that I've wanted to try. I always see like yoga sculpt class at yoga boutiques, but I've never done them because honestly they sound very intimidating, especially to someone who's not a yoga master. Like, I know the poses, but it is a challenge to add the weights. So there's 18 classes in this collection, and they actually only started coming out a few months ago. On March 15th, 2023, they had a big drop of these classes, and they've been like slowly adding some since. I'm not going to do all 18 classes just because I think it would get a little bit repetitive, but I definitely want to do all 3 teachers. And there's also like different types. There's upper body, lower body, full body, and core. So I thought I would start off strong today and just go immediately into a 30-minute yoga conditioning full body class. That's the longest class that they offer. A lot of the classes are like 10 to 20 minutes, but I figured I'd go in strong and do a longer one. I typically like longer yoga classes, not super long. An hour is kind of long for me, but I think like 30 to 45 minutes is the sweet spot where you can have a nice warm up, but then really get into the flow. And I'm very curious, will there even be flow in this? I don't know. So this class is by Kristen McGee. It's from April 27th, 2023. You need yoga blanket, yoga block, light weights, and a yoga mat. And the description is build full body strength through exercises designed to turn up your yoga practice in this upbeat class. So I really don't know what to expect, but I think we just gotta hit the mat and see what these yoga conditioning classes are all about. I do like Kristen McGee, so I don't think that she will steer me wrong. I surprisingly actually really enjoyed that class. I thought it was very good. Definitely not for a beginner yoga practicer. It was very fast paced, and she would call out the moves with no explanation. You need to know like downward dog, all the warriors. You need to know at least a decent amount of basic yoga, but I did not find it hard to follow or know what to do. But with the weights, man, oh man, you're really working out. So we started out with a 3-minute warm-up, which was a fairly intense warm-up in my opinion. Like, even in the warm-up, we were doing downward dogs, lunges forward, and like stretching out. And then we got right on into the arm section, which was 8 minutes long. And we used weights pretty much the entire time. There were a lot of interesting moves. Like, it was kind of all over the place. And honestly, the arms portion kind of felt like the most not related to yoga. We did some very basic arm moves that you would do in like a light weights class on Peloton, like bicep curls and like shoulder presses. But then we kind of got more into a yoga flow. I hesitate to call it a flow because it was kind of just like random yoga moves, and we would do like one or two of them. But for example, we did a warrior three, which is where you're standing on one foot, have the other foot extended behind you, and then we were doing tricep kickbacks while we were in warrior three, which I have balancing issues with warrior three without weights, but it was an enjoyable thing to do. And the like fast-paced nature of the class was that if you didn't really like a move, it was going to be over in like 30 seconds and we weren't coming back to it. And then we got into 12 minutes of lower body, which was a lot of lunges and squats, which I kind of anticipated because there's a lot of lunges just in general in yoga. And man, oh man, my thigh and glute was really burning out. Like I had to stand up and take breaks sometimes because we were just holding lunges for so long. But it actually didn't annoy me as much. Sometimes I get demotivated when I can't do the moves. But again, I just feel like it moved so fast and was so upbeat that it was okay. You just got out of it and then you just got back into it when you could do it. We also laid down and did some hip bridges, which I really like those. So that portion of the class was good. It kind of felt a little more related to bar because we do that move in bar a lot, but I still enjoyed it, no real complaints. And then finally we got into core, which was 7 minutes. I actually thought the core part was the easiest, and I'm not a huge core fan, so that was good. We did a lot of like more basic core moves as well, like one where we're kind of an X and we're reaching our opposite hand to opposite foot like above us with a weight. Everything was with weights, so everything was a little bit harder. We did a whole body hold at the end, and we did something that I think she called a California roll, where you were doing like arm movements while also holding like a C curve and doing it on the oblique sides as well. That was kind of hard. So now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the core wasn't the easiest, but it did fly by so fast. My heart rate was quite high for yoga. It was 120 beats per minute average with a range of 80 to 153. 120 is not like running heart rate, but that's way higher than a typical yoga class, but it makes sense because this is more upbeat and you have weights. So I was breaking a sweat. It was a fun way to kind of kick off this Monday morning, and I'm excited to see what the other classes are like. I'm kind of glad I did the 30-minute class first because I feel like the shorter one should be a little bit easier since they're not as long. And I'm also curious if I'll be sore tomorrow. I think I won't be because the weights were very light, but we did get some repetition in and I did feel burnout while I was in the class, because if I don't feel sore, it'd be a really great class to repeat over and over again because it got the heart rate up, you felt the burnout, but it wasn't super, super high impact, which I liked. It is now the next day and I don't feel sore or tight at all, which is always an amazing feeling the day after doing a semi-hard workout. So I'm excited to continue the yoga conditioning today. And I'm going to try 2 different shorter classes just to see what they're like, get a little bit of range. The first class I'm going to do is a 10-minute yoga conditioning lower body class by Kira Michelle from March 15th, 2023. And then I'm going to follow it with a 15-minute yoga conditioning core class by Mariana Fernandez from April 12th, 2023. So some lower body and core focus today. You know, lower body should be fun. Core, I'm not so sure about, but Mariana usually doesn't steer me wrong. So let's hit the mat and knock out these 2 yoga conditioning classes. I had very high expectations of the classes today because I enjoyed yesterday's class so much, and they definitely fell a little short for me, but overall still enjoyable. So the first class, the 10-minute lower body with Kira, my biggest complaint there, I actually have 3 complaints maybe. So the first is that the class is just really short, which I knew going into I might not like. We had a 1-minute warm up and then we just got right on into it, and it was just basically 9 minutes of lower body exercises. it didn't really feel like that much yoga. We were doing a lot of work of like being in chair pose and then stepping one leg back, which definitely strengthens you for yoga, which they also claim yoga conditioning is kind of for that, like make you stronger so you can do yoga poses easier. And I felt like that class was definitely more conditioning you for yoga classes versus like kind of feeling like a yoga class with the weights. We barely used the weights at all in that class. It was majority being in chair pose and stepping back. The other thing that I disliked about this class was there was a lot of sliding. So you were supposed to go on the edge of your mat and have a hardwood floor next to you, put like a towel and then slide your foot back and forth. And we did a lot of moves that involved that. And I'm doing this class on a carpet. Like I have a towel laid out, but I don't have hardwood flooring underneath it. So she gave modifications for the sliding, but it definitely felt like I was missing something in the class because I couldn't do the sliding. So that one was not my favorite. I probably wouldn't take again. Then Mariana's class, I did like better the 15-minute core class. It was very hard. We were doing a lot of core moves, a lot of boat poses. We did a decent amount of work with a block in between our legs. I don't have a block, so I used a towel, and I thought that was a fine modification, just like a towel balled up. So no real complaints there. It was very hard. Core is just not my favorite, but out of the two classes today, I definitely liked the second class better. It was a lot more upbeat. I really find that Mariana like keeps things moving, which I can appreciate as someone who doesn't enjoy core that much. So the second class was not that bad. It was just that core is not my favorite. But I was not a fan of the first class today. And I think that I like the full body classes more just because you feel like you get a little bit of everything. And I definitely like the longer classes more because I feel like you get a nicer warm up and it just feels like more cohesive than doing two classes stacked. But I did want to try it out. I still want to try out the upper bodies class as well and probably do a couple more full body classes. So I think I still like yoga conditioning, just yesterday's class was really good compared to today's classes. It is now 2 days later. I took a break from yoga conditioning yesterday, but I'm ready to get right back into it. And today I'm only going to do one class. It is a 15-minute yoga conditioning upper body class by Kristen McGee from March 15th, 2023. And I think I'll like upper body. I typically like upper body classes, especially with light weights. So I'm looking forward to it. I also really liked Kristen's class on the first day. And this is the last like type of yoga conditioning class that I'll take. So I'm excited to see how it is. 15 minutes, I feel like, is a good amount of time to really get into the work. So let's hit the mat and knock out this yoga conditioning class. That class, I think, was the hardest yoga conditioning class I've taken so far. There were so many chaturangas, which are just push-ups, essentially. And we were doing a lot of like one-legged push-ups and holding it like before we went down completely to the mat. So like kind of holding it in a downward position of a push-up. And man, oh man, I could really feel that in my triceps, which is something I need to work on, so it was good. But in the moment, it was really hard. I still enjoyed the class as much as I could with also really being pushed. I think I like Kristen McGee the best out of all three instructors so far because I know the point of yoga conditioning is to condition you for yoga classes, but I feel like Kristen does the best job of making it still feel like yoga and making it more entertaining, I guess, than just feeling like we're just doing yoga conditioning. But I am going to give the other instructors another chance to unseat Kristen, and I'm going to do a full body by each of them since that definitely is my favorite. I like the longer classes and I also like kind of moving around and doing different sections. So I'm excited to try them. But today's class, definitely hard, but you know, hopefully rewarding. Hopefully I can do chaturangas a little bit better now. And that's the whole point. It is now Sunday, so several days later, but we're ready to get right on back into the yoga conditioning. Had a rest day yesterday, and I'm ready to go at it today. So we're gonna go and do a 30-minute yoga conditioning full body class by Kira Michelle from May 10th, 2023. I'm excited for full body. I'm excited for 30 minutes. I am apprehensive about Kira. We'll see. I wasn't a huge fan of her lower body class, but today is a new day, new class, and I'm excited to see what she brings to us today. So let's go hit the mat and knock out this yoga conditioning class. I have mixed feelings about that class, but I think overall they lean positive. So it was definitely interesting and very different from the other full body class I did. I kind of went in expecting that, we do a warm up and then we do 7 minutes of arm exercises, 7 minutes of core, and like 10 minutes of lower body, whatever. I thought it'd be very divided, and it really wasn't that. It was a lot of full body and specifically back/core action, which I actually liked, especially the back stuff, because I feel like I need to strengthen my back, and that's actually probably one of my weakest muscle groups. So I appreciated that. We did a lot of like back bends where we're on our stomach and we're leaning up and like creating kind of a U. And we did a bunch of exercises there where we were like bending our legs, and that was like working our hamstrings. And then we also grabbed weights and like did W's and Y's while we were in that position. And man, oh man, that really, really burns out the back. So I really liked all of those moves, and I feel like they were kind of unique. Like I haven't done a lot of work like that before. And then we also did a plank where we would like hold out one of our arms, and man, oh man, that has a lot of shoulder and arm burnout very fast. And I liked that set, but we repeated it and it just felt like it went really, really slowly. And then after we did that section, which honestly took like 15 to 20 minutes of the class, we did a lower body segment, which we also repeated. So I just feel like with the repetition, it's not necessarily bad, but it just felt very, very slow moving to me. And right at the beginning of the class, Kira is like, you need to have a hardwood floor, which I guess is nice. She told us at the beginning because we were doing sliding stuff again. So she definitely likes to do sliding stuff. So if you don't have a hardwood floor, I honestly would not recommend any of her classes in yoga conditioning, just because she says and gives modifications, but the sliding is so different than like stepping slowly, because basically the modifications are like stepping slowly instead of sliding. So then we did a lower body segment where we did sliding, a lot of it in a bridge pose. And I actually have like a very small portion of not hardwood flooring, but at least not carpeting in our basement. So I used that for a little bit of it. And like the sliding is cool, but I just feel like you could do other exercises without the sliding, and then you don't need to worry about like not being on carpet. If you do have a hardwood floor though, I don't think like this class would bother you at all. And yeah, when we repeated it again, it just wasn't bad, but I just feel like it felt like it was going really slowly because we do a bunch of moves and then we would start from the beginning again. And I was already feeling burnout from the first round, so then I wasn't that jazzed about the second round. So I don't know. I think this class was just okay. I liked the beginning a lot more. I like the back stuff a lot. So overall, I still think Kristen is my favorite, but I am willing to give Mariana another chance as well. It's now 2 days later, and I'm ready for my last yoga conditioning class of this video. I'm going to be doing a 20-minute yoga conditioning full body class by Mariana Fernandez from March 15th, 2023. For some reason, Mariana doesn't have any 30-minute classes, but a little bit shorter today is all right. I'm interested to see how she structures the class, just because Kristen and Kira structured it very differently, and I really like Mariana, so I have high hopes for this class. Let's go hit the mat and knock out this final yoga conditioning class. That full body class was actually fairly hard, which I think all of them have been hard at this point, so I should have expected it. But we got right on into it. We were doing like downward dogs during our warm up, which I need to ease into the downward dog because every day I'm still very tight. And then we started the actual class. I would say probably 15 minutes was lower body slash arm core. Like we do lower body in conjunction with other moves. And then the last couple minutes, maybe 3 to 4 minutes, was straight core. So definitely got at it. A ton of lunges and squats and chair pose. We held the lunges, squats, chair poses for so long. Something I need to work on. I had to stand up a bunch of times because my legs were burning so much they were going to give out. So Mariana pointed out that, I need to work on that. And then we did a lot of things where we do like chair pose and then add in bicep curls or tricep extensions. So you're getting a little bit of upper body and core as well, along with lunges and squats and chair poses. So you're really burning out the lower body. My heart rate was high. It was definitely an efficient workout. And then the core section was mostly boat pose. We did some bridge pose, but really burnt out the core at the end as well. And it was very upbeat, a lot of EDM music, and Mariana really keeps the class moving. So just one thing to the next. I personally like that because it doesn't give me a lot of time to dwell on any moves that I don't like. We did repeat some sections, but all the sections we repeated were fairly short, so they really went by quickly. I would be interested if I went back and took Kristen's full bodies class from the first day again, what I would think, because I still think that that is my favorite one, but is it because it was the first one that I took? I don't know. I would take Mariana's again. Like, I enjoyed it, especially if I want something more upbeat. I probably would not take Kira's again. So that is my rating. But overall, I really enjoyed the yoga conditioning, and it's something that I will continue to do. I do feel like I'm strengthening my yoga muscles. We even did a little bit of chaturanga work today, and it did feel a little bit easier than it used to, but chaturangas are still killer. So I think that the objective of the classes of conditioning for yoga are being met, and it's kind of an interesting way to do it. I like it a little more than doing like typical strength classes because I feel like it targets yoga muscles specifically. Yoga is very different than normal strength in my opinion. So let me know if you've taken any yoga conditioning classes. If so, what do you think? Who is your favorite instructor? I would be curious. I feel like it's not very hyped up on the platform at all. You have to like really scroll to get to this collection, but they are coming out with new classes. Even these past couple of weeks, a lot more classes have come out. So I hope it's something that Peloton continues to invest in. I hope you guys are staying safe, having an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!